Shalom. Back again, Camp Sons of Yahweh. Once again on the Sabbath day, prophesying the downfall of America and trying to, alert our people that, hey, time is nigh. The day of the Lord is at hand. You gotta tighten up, get yourselves together. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, the creator of all things, and Yahweh Shai, so-called black man, right, from the tribe of Judah, who is the savior of the nation of Israel, and who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? As always, I want to say peace and blessings to the 12 tribes, and woe to the other nations. And, we just want to alert the elect of the Israelites, wherever you may be, right, that the traditions of men and following the traditions of men will be the downfall for many Israelites. Okay? So, let's start with the Isaiah 1 and verse 3 and 4.
This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know. My people does not consider.
That's right. So the ox, he understands who he belongs to, right? And the ass, right, knows where he belongs. He knows where his home is. And these are animals that, they can't do math and they can't think critically, right? But they still know the basics. But the nation of Israel, people near and dear to the Most High, but they can't see it, right? They don't understand that the Most High is their power and that Yahweh Shai is their savior, right? And that they need to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments in order to, make it into the kingdom, right? Read on.
But Israel does not know. My people does not consider. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity.
Right. The Israelites were people deep in sin and iniquity, and a lot of that is because we've fallen away from the law, statutes, commandments, right? We've come away from teaching, reading, understanding the Bible, right? And we mostly just deal with traditions passed down, which it's like a game of telephone we used to play back in, as a kid. As you just pass along things without the context of where they're coming from, right? Word of mouth, you're going to get things twisted and confused. And at the end of the day, nobody knows what the original message was unless you can go back to the source, right? And the source is the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations, and not excluding, the so-called Apocrypha, right? The hidden books. So we got to have all that with the spirit of the Most High and the faith in order to get this understanding, this knowledge that you need to have, that we're the Israelites and being able to know what you need to be doing, all right?
A simple nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
That's right. Hey, we've done pissed the Most High off by being wicked, right? In a nutshell, because we don't consider who we are, right? So we're a sinful nation because we started following the ways of our forefathers instead of the Most High's ways, right? Simply put, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's move on. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20 and start at verse 10.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 10. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness.
Right, talking about the Israelites, right? Coming from out of Egypt, right? Being led by Moses. And go ahead.
Verse
Yeah, jump down to 13.
Ezekiel 20 and 13. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness.
Right. So being led out of captivity into the wilderness, and
the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walk not in my statutes, and they despise my judgments.
And that's where we are currently as well, right? Because your average everyday Israelite won't even accept that he's an Israelite, right? Or doesn't want, they ain't got time for that, you know? I'm a proud black man, you know? I'm a proud, you know, Mexican or Puerto Rican or whatever. All foolishness, all nonsense, because it's not biblical, and it's not going to do anything for you and your salvation and your entering into the kingdom through the gates, right? Read on.
But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walk not in my statutes, and they despise my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
Right. Go ahead.
In my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out.
Right. And see, you know, a lot of Israelites don't realize, you know, the Most High did not create us to be looked down on by the other nations. You know, He doesn't want us to be talked about in a negative fashion by the other nations. You know, we're supposed to be up above all nations, right?
That's right.
Pursuant to Deuteronomy 7 and 6, right? So we're supposed to be a light to the other nations, and that, you know, where's the light come from? Usually up above, right? So it can shine down on everybody, or shine down and lighten up, like, you know, give you light for what you need to do. That's how we're supposed to be operating, not down in a hole or under a bush, right? Because our people, we got caught up in following the traditions of men that we learned through Christianity, right? And the slave Bible and oppression and just pure being wicked and evil, you know, forsaking the Most High's and His laws. And so the Most High poured His fury out on us, right? All right, let's read on.
Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I will not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands.
Right. So because after being saved from oppression and captivity, we were still ungrateful and hard-headed. And so the Most High let those individuals know you ain't going to see the promised land, right? Just like we say all the time, because the Bible teaches, you wicked Israelites, 2/3, you're going to be destroyed here in America along with the heathens that you love and are so impressed by. You want to, you know, be just like them. Well, you're going to have to be born in through the kingdom and come up through Pampers and be taught, you know, by the ones that was doing it right and was able to walk in through the gates, right? Go ahead.
Because they despise my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols.
Right. You know, so our forefathers went off, and many of us Israelites currently are going off just like them, right? Which is unacceptable, Israel. And, you know, we're talking about so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, right? From Negro and indigenous descent on your father's side. So these laws demonstrate. Oh, read on. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Verse 18.
Come on.
But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols.
Right, because of their wickedness, they didn't get to make it into the land that's flowing with milk and honey. Okay? Go ahead.
I am the Lord your God. Walk in my statutes and keep my